Good morning. This is the podcast Ancient Rome Today. Since International Women's Day is approaching, it's the right time to talk about women in ancient Rome. Today, you'll discover the role of women in Roman society, the professions they were involved in, the political rights they had, and much more. Roman society was always based on patria potestas, a system of dominating male authority in the public and social spheres. The man was considered the head of the family. He also had control over all family members and was responsible for raising the children, especially the sons. Meanwhile, women did not enjoy full Roman citizenship as men did. They could not vote in the assemblies where magistrates were elected. They were excluded from all civil and public functions and therefore could not become judges, obtain a magistracy, practice law, act as representatives, or serve as attorneys. Furthermore, women could not fully manage their property and inherited assets. Even if a woman inherited some property, it was still controlled by her husband. Women could own property and manage financial affairs only if they were widowed or single. Anyway, they remained supervised by a male relative. However, in ancient Rome, some women enjoyed political rights. Those were the Vestals, religious priestesses who were responsible for guarding the fire in the Temple of Vesta. Unlike most Roman women, the Vestals were not subject to patria potestas. They had the exclusive right, among Roman women, to own property, manage their own financial affairs, and make a will without a guardian's authorization. Furthermore, they were the only women allowed to testify in court without taking an oath. However, these privileges had their cost. The Vestals were prohibited from having any kind of relation with men during 30 years of their service. If you'd like to learn more, there's an episode dedicated to the Vestals on this channel. Despite the strict restrictions, some Roman women, especially those from the upper classes, managed to carve out a more influential role in society. Livia Drusilla, wife of Emperor Augustus, and Agrippina Minor, mother of Emperor Nero, are examples of female figures who wielded considerable power in imperial politics, despite operating behind the scenes. For most women in Rome, according to the Emos Maiorum, their primary role was closely tied to family life. The ideal model of woman was the Roman matron, who was expected to be a faithful wife, manage the household, supervise the household slaves, and raise the children. The virtue of the Roman matron was closely tied to her dedication to the family and adherence to social norms. Matrons wore floor-length robes and were respected women. It should also be noted that Rome wasn't just about matrons and vestals. There were many women who practiced prostitution. They wore togas, owing to which they were noticed and identified. Some Roman women, especially from less wealthy families, had to work for a living. They typically were involved in agricultural activities, market activities, crafts, midwifery, and nursing. Throughout Roman history, especially in patrician families, a daughter could be promised in marriage, often against her will. Marriage was often considered an essential tool for establishing and maintaining alliances between families. Marriages were arranged by the relatives of the two people for economic or political reasons. In modern times, many countries still use the Roman social model as a basis. For example, in Afghanistan, women cannot even go out without being accompanied by a male relative. Afghan women cannot vote and are excluded from political and social life. They are not even allowed to attend universities, high schools, parks, or gymnasiums. However, before August 15, 2021, Afghan women could vote, be elected, participate in public life, and travel freely. Currently, In most Western countries, women vote and participate in public life, politics, and social events. They can also travel freely without being accompanied by a male guardian. But that kind of situation seemed unrealistic a century ago.